So let me say this clearly. A lot of people are waiting for motivation to change their life, but motivation is not consistent because it shows up one day and then it disappears the next, right? But what is actually able to change your life is discipline. You know, discipline is not punishment. Discipline is structure. Discipline is choosing your future self over your current feelings. And in this episode, I want to break down why discipline is the real foundation of everything you're trying to build. So, what is discipline? Discipline is love in action, right? Because, in my opinion, discipline is kind of misunderstood. People think that discipline means restrictions or it means being hard on yourself. But discipline is actually love in action, right? Because every time you choose to stay focused, every time you show up when you don't feel like it, every time you say no to something that pulls you off track, you are practicing self respect. And the truth is, you don't build a better life by accident. You build it through repeated decisions that match the person that you're trying to become. So now that is understood, right? Um, let's talk about what happens without discipline, right? Because at first it feels like freedom, you know, because you do what you want, you move how you feel, you avoid all the uncomfortable stuff. But over time, that freedom that starts to turn into frustration, you know, because all the goals they stay unfinished. That potential that you have that stays stuck. Time gets wasted on things that don't even matter. And slowly, regret starts getting louder than your dreams. And the hardest part about this is when you don't have discipline, you start to lose trust in yourself. You start doubt if you can actually follow through on anything, you know, and not because you are incapable of, but because your actions are inconsistent. So, probably wondering, well, how do I build discipline? Right. So it's not in one big moment or in one life-changing decision, right? Discipline is built in the small repeated choices every single day. So start with this, you know, do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it. Stop depending just on motivation and start building routines. You know, remove the distractions that keep pulling you off track and show up for yourself when nobody's watching. Show up for yourself when nobody else is watching. because that's where the discipline is built. It's built in private moments. It's in those quiet decisions, in the things that nobody claps for. And you don't need perfection at all. You only need consistency. That's it. And in closing, I want to leave you with this. Discipline is not being hard on yourself. It's about being committed to yourself. Because the life you want is not far away. It's just on the other side of the habits you keep avoiding. And the simple truth is, you don't find discipline, you build it. One decision at a time. And I thank you for joining me this week. And remember, you don't find discipline, you build it. This is Black Man Unfiltered. Real voice, real truth, real growth. Until next time.